Ladies and gentlemen, my name is WestRoadSal, and tonight we are doing things a little bit different. We are not doing things in terms of video and audio, we are only doing things in terms of audio. And that is because I want to focus on audio only. I think it will be a much richer experience if you experience me audio only. Tonight, I want to bring to you my definitive review of Ring of Honor Retribution Round Robin Challenge 2 from April 26th, 2003. Now, I have a couple of old school Ring of Honor DVDs that I might have reviewed for you in the past, but tonight will be the start of something new. We will be going through all of the Ring of Honor DVDs that I have, but with an in-depth review, a definitive review of these events. So let us get started with the Retribution Round Robin Challenge 2. The event starts off with a promo backstage by Christopher Daniels. We all know who he is, talking about how the last time they were in Pennsylvania, they were the hunted. That is the prophecy. Now they are the hunters. The hunt begins with Amazing Red, and then later continues with Paul London. Alice in Danger is there with Daniels, as well as Danny Moff, and there's somebody else there, but excuse me, I don't remember their name. Danger doesn't really add to the severity and heaviness that Daniels brings. She really makes the promo weaker by throwing petty insults at her brother, like wetting the bed and such. When Daniels is talking about the prophecy becoming true, and you're going on your own road and talking about how like such petty insults about your brother, that doesn't really add to the feeling that Daniels wants to bring to the table. Moff, though, brings it back home by talking about how the Code of Honor didn't do anything for him and didn't bring him anywhere closer to a title. The first match of the night, the first official contest, is Amazing Red versus Christopher Daniels. Right before the match begins, we get a top ranking graphic showing us the champions, as well as the top 5 contenders. Nice to see this, but it is distracting and took me out of the moment, considering it shows right before the match starts. The competitors are literally in the ring and they're about to square off, and you show me this graphic. It takes me out of that. I'm glad they took it out in future events, which I will review. Daniels is just throwing Red around to start off, and there's a hurricanrana to the outside floor. Red gets back on offense, but surprisingly strong Daniels, all of a sudden he's super strong. I haven't seen this level of selling for Daniels ever, except for in this match. Daniels pulls a clothesline lariat, and that makes Red flip over 5-way Sunday. Okay? Allison is, as usual, with the prophecies, antics, and such, interferes so Daniels can get an even stronger lead than he already has. Red is selling so much for Daniels that when he gets his offense in, you can tell maybe he's selling it purposely, or like maybe it's actually gotten to his mind a little bit, and his rhythm becomes a little off, and it really seems like he's on the verge of botching something. This happens twice in like 5 minutes. He pulls off the 718, though it's still a 2 count. The 718 is literally, from what I can tell, Rey Mysterio 619. But 718 is Brooklyn. And that's Brooklyn and Staten Island, and that's apparently where Amazing Red comes from. Red also pulls off a smooth step kick off Daniel's back. And this is his According to myself, his his highlight move. I've seen this in other events as well, and this move is really smooth when it comes to Amazing Red executing it. Code Red still a two. Even with the crowd hot for Amazing Red, there's a ref bump, and the last rites is hit for the win. I will give this match a 3.5 out of 5, and the winner is Christopher Daniels. The next match is the Hit Squad versus Second City Saints. Excuse me, let me repeat that. The Hit Squad versus Second City Saints, which is made up of Ace Steel and Colt Cabana. This will be the last time that the Hit Squad teams up because of the prophecy taking a member away. There is the code of honor being respected here, and a handshake starts things off. Cabana's a little more annoying here than usual. He hasn't completely worked out his charisma. If I haven't noticed before, the Hit Squad, excuse me, the Hit Squad are big guys when easily compared to smaller wrestlers like Cabana and Steel. There's a set up by the Hit Squad that's aimed for Steel, but it misses, and there's a nicely heard splat noise. Damn, that had to hurt. I mean, you just hearing that makes you think. Imagine the pain. Considering it is widely known by the commentators that this is the Hit Squad's last match, I was waiting for the breakup sequences to begin, and just like that, they are having some tension. There's a nice and brutal slap exchange right on the cheek between Steel and Moth to keep the ferocity noticed. The orange crush is inflicted, but Steel is right there to break up the pin. Kind of a waste for Steel to be right there, kind of waiting for the pin just to break it up. I mean, come on, you pull off your team finisher, but a member of the opposite team is literally just standing there waiting for you to try the pin. That sort of deflates the value of the scene. Not the finisher, the scene. Colt 45 ends the match, but the build up towards the team finisher was a bit clunky. It wasn't smooth, and that takes away from this match being a 4 out of 5. It is a 3 out of 5. The Second City Saints win. Dunn and Marcus, the very much underdog team, cut a promo during intermission, and then a promo from some new guy who I never really catch the full name of. The next match is Dunn and Marcos versus Special K with their big enforcer versus Easy Money and Sterling James Keenan versus SAT, a tag team scramble. First things first, I thought they were annoying at first, but at this point I was watching 3 shows in a row, and Dunn and Marcos have quickly grown on me to be charismatic. There's a sequence to start things off between one member of SAT and one member of Special K that, in all honesty, even though all of wrestling is supposed to look real, this looked really weak and light, more like a circus act, if I'm going to be completely honest. I know we're dealing with cruiserweights here for the most part, but come on. Now, this is not a botch, and it was planned outright, but both Dunn and Marcus try to go off the top rope to the outside, but both trip and fall at the same time. And instead of having the feeling of, oh shit, that looked horrible, it was more like, if you want to believe me, it was more like, oh, they're so adorable. I was getting that mindset of them. There is a successful high dive which goes straight into the audience. Nobody gets hurt crowd-wise as far as I can see, but still really fun to see the off-cuff reactions from the audience when something like this takes place, and you have 5 seconds to react. There's a tombstone pile driver, but the head is off center and makes me cringe for just a moment. SAT has had enough of the antics and powerbombs Marcus 6 times. Yes, I counted 6 times, and then a double Spanish fly for the win. I rate this match a 2.5 out of 5 SAT wins. I rated it that because there were, like I mentioned to you, moments of not on purpose botching and just non-rhythmic wrestling. After the match, we get Special K's Enforcer collide with the same big guy that comes in from the audience. The original Powerbomb Special K's Enforcer. Confusing, and I don't know yet why they keep bringing this guy from the crowd into beat and demolish whoever's in the ring at that point. CM Punk with Lucy versus Homicide. Now, this may be the match of the night for all the right reasons, as opposed to the following match. Let me continue. CM Punk, straight off the bat, being what he is best, a punk and yelling at the ref. There's a quick pin sequence back and forth to start, Shining Wizard, dive combo. Lucy is interfering. If she wasn't, this match would have been at the pinnacle of ratings, just so you know. Homicide with some brutal and stiff kicks to Punk's back. Homicide is coming from a nasty place with his moves. They look to be much stiffer than CM Punk's. CM Punk comes back with a belly-to-belly on the floor outside of the ring. After a while, though, things get a bit clunky and awkward on the floor. It's slowed down. Moves don't look right. They get back in the ring, and a Pepsi plunge by CM Punk gets 2. Close finishes, bring this match back around. A bit of the sloppiness hampers this just a tad. Upgraded us STF, and Homicide gets the win. A 4 out of 5 this match, and Homicide wins. If it wasn't for Lucy interfering and I want to say, clunkiness on the floor, this match would be a 5 out of 5. But as it is right now, it is a 4 out of 5. Now, this next match, okay? This next match is possibly the match of the night for all the wrong reasons. Okay? I hope you're paying attention because this one is something else. Carnage Crew versus Hernandez, Don Juan, and Fast Eddie. Now, Don Juan and Fast Eddie are not known to be from Ring of Honor. Now, I don't know if I mentioned this, but this is a no DQ match. Okay? Don Juan and Fast Eddie are from the Texas Wrestling Academy. When you see these two teams stand opposite one another, you can easily figure out who's going to win in a no DQ match. Yes, Don Juan and Fast Eddie, like I said, come from Texas Wrestling Academy. Excuse me while I take a drink. It's like a little tease right now. And Texas Wrestling Academy, the word Texas, it brings to mind hardcore, sure. But Fast Eddie has an AJ Styles physique. And from what I've seen of Don Juan, from the past 2 events, he's not really anything, to be honest. I'm going to be frank. These two have no business being in a hardcore match. A guardrail that separates the audience from the ring, and weapons, other assorted weapons like a garbage pail lid and a chair, and multiple chairs, not one chair, are thrown into the ring, and there's chair shots to the head. You can visibly see the camera focuses in on the chair, okay? And there's multiple chair shots to the head. The chair gets broken in the middle. Never before in my I'm going to say 20 years of watching wrestling, never have I seen a chair be broken in the middle. There's breakaway glass, there's all sorts of breakaway things, but never have I heard of a breakaway chair. So for a chair to break in the middle, you have to hit it with force. And they hit it with force on top of a Texas Wrestling Academy wrestler. Okay? I do not remember specifically if it was Fast Eddie or Don Juan, but the chair becomes broken. There's also a DDT onto a chair. Blood starts gushing from anybody. Naturally, this is the case. Blood starts gushing from everybody. Fast Eddie and Carnage Crew. There's a Carnage Crew member that has blood covering, and I mean, you can't see any skin on the side of this guy's head. The blood is covering to the side of his neck, all the way down from the top of his head. Chairs are flying into the crowd so fast that you can tell it's going to hit somebody if somebody doesn't run out of the way fast enough. But the camera doesn't follow this chair that is thrown. Fast Eddie now has a crimson mask himself. Okay. You know when commentators say that there's a puddle of blood, and they're like focusing on one puddle of blood? There is literally puddles, with an S, plural. There are multiple puddles of blood on the outside. You can clearly see them. Carnage Crew wins this one, obviously, but something was wrong in this match. Something was really up, okay? Either egos were too high strung and the Carnage Crew wanted to show Don Juan and Fast Eddie who they were dealing with, or Rudy Boy Gonzalez, who was the mentor of Don Juan and Fast Eddie, how the big boys play, or something. Something was up. Something was different here that really drained me for the next couple of matches. Excuse me if my reviews for like the next two matches are short. I was like, I'm gonna be honest here. Again, I was traumatized by these matches. By this match. I was like, holy shit, what is going on here? I give this match a 2 out of 5 because it is an entertaining match, but I felt bad. I felt sorry. It's like, Fast Eddie is not for this type of match. Neither is Don Juan. Hernandez, fine. Hernandez can match up with Carnage Crew, but not Don Juan and Fast Eddie. They're a whole nother. I'm not saying a whole nother better class, but I'm saying a different class of wrestler. And you put them in a hardcore match, a no DQ match with Carnage Crew? Are you crazy? What do you think was going to happen? Who do you think was going to win? And then on top of that, once the match ends, the Carnage Crew pulls a shoot and legitimately goes to beat down this guy. I don't remember his name. This guy who was like the bell keeper for like the whole show. This guy from Tough. They keep referencing this guy as the guy from Tough Enough, and like they push him and shove him and like kick him a couple times. So they beat up this guy. They legit beat up this guy. So they had like a tick on their shoulder that they had to get rid of. Okay, let me move on before I talk about this match too much. The next match is Paul London versus Amazing Red. Finally, back to the norm. Okay, I'm going to stop now. Code of Honor starts things off with a nice, respectful handshake. High-flying aerial to start, hip toss, and kick straight to the gut. Nice spot by London. Maybe to make fun of the last match. I know I'm talking about the last match again, but Paul London brings this up, not me. Paul London comedically yells to the camera, "I'm bleeding," when he starts showing red just a little on his face somewhere. Red gets some offense in, but London comes right back and mocks Red's partner AJ Styles with the poses that he gives to the crowd. London struggles to come back from a surprise called Red and retaliates with an AJ clash. copying AJ Styles' finisher for the win. This match was short, but I still gave it a 3 out of 5 because it was competitive for the most part. Intermission time with a promo from Matt Striker, not the Matt Striker that we all know from WWE. This is a Matt Striker with a Y instead of an I. He's interviewed about his match with Chad Collier later in the night. Excuse me if I terribly say that last name. Collier comes through and they have a standoff. Michael Shane nonchalantly walks through and thinks that he's not booked for tonight. Well, Michael Shane, you are in for a surprise. Now we have a women's match. Persephone versus Alexis Lorraine. Compared to what WWE was doing at the time, this match actually has wrestling in it. Really nice back and forth here until we do resort to the cliche hair pulling, and it continues for a bit too long. This is apparently Persephone's first showing, as made apparent by the commentators. As it is, the chemistry is not all there, and a dropkick doesn't connect right. An inverted DDT, and Alexis Lorraine is your winner. That is Mickie James. Not much to this one. Alexis Lorraine, 3 out of 5. After the match, Simply Luscious runs in with Shane, beats up both of the competitors. Easy payday. Michael Shane also comes to the ring with a chair and sits down, waiting for some attention towards him. Then we go to a promo by the Second City Saints. And the leader of the Second City Saints is, as we all know, is CM Punk. Now, CM Punk is much better with a promo these days. Obviously, this was 2002. Okay, 18 years in the past. But CM Punk, right here in this moment, is just running through with what he has to say. Memorization and then execution. But slow down a little bit. CM Punk should be in there as well. I'm noticing that Ring of Honor like to, and this was after the promo, make like the person behind the camera would say, okay, that's a wrap. But keep the camera rolling and we would see the relaxed version of the character. In this case, it would be CM Punk, Colt Cabana, Ace Steel, and I think Daphne, while her name was Lucy here. I don't know what they were going for here. Seems odd that you would repeatedly and try to invest the crowd into one version of a character and then just like that turn the whole promo on its head and then seamlessly try to go into the real version of the character, even though in professional wrestling you should stick with one character for every wrestler. It just seems a little weird that you would do this time and time again, and they do this time and time again on purpose, breaking character. Anyway, the next match is Matt Striker with the Y versus Chad Collier versus Michael Shane versus Donovan Morgan versus BJ Whitmer. This is a pure wrestling put on a technical wrestling clinic royale. We have a Prophecy group face-off tease. Morgan goes after Shane and Luscious. You could see Dean Malenko's training here for sure. There's snapmares, fisherman suplexes, and snap suplexes. Michael Shane is the odd man out. He's really playing the heel, cheap shots, literally reversing a move and then throwing the person out of the ring. Shane and Luscious really have this thing in lock until a submission sequence by all 5 guys really slow things down until Matt Striker regains momentum in his favor and wins the whole thing. Matt Striker, 3.5. It's a close, if I'm going to be detailed on this one, it's a 3.5, but it's close to a 4 out of a 5. It really is. It's close to a 4. If it like, okay, I'm gonna be a little cynical here, but if Michael Shane didn't be the over enthusiastic heel as he was, this match could have been on another level. I know Michael Shane is that type of character here, but if he toned down the heelish antics and this was a pure clinic in terms of wrestling royale, it could have been a 4 out of 5. And we have Christopher Daniels versus Paul London. Daniels goes off on little kid fans of Paul London's that are in the front row, and this match, and that makes this match worth it in itself, because you see Daniels going off on little kids, and that's just hilarious. Then they get to mind games. For a while, it's more of a story than a match. Both men jump out of the ring to regain composure until a submission by Daniels keeps them in the ring for a while. London has visible injury marks from the match with Red. Angel's Wings just a 2. Match started to get much better in the second half. Commentators go absolute apeshit when London pulls his finisher off, but as you can tell by Daniels, see, this is something I didn't like in this show. You have Daniels saying in the beginning of night that we're going to get a Retribution, and not only that, but the event itself has the word Retribution in it. One, okay. By the title event, that is not the way this is going. This is not the way this is going to go down. No way is Paul London going to win. So they mildly spoiled it already. London's finisher only gets a 2 because Alice in Danger interferes. London dives to the outside, botches in a weird way, and ends up hitting Daniels sideways. Daniels inevitably gets the upper hand out of this, and he gets the moonsault to win. Christopher Daniels wins. It's a 3.5 out of 5. It's good and close to great, but it's not perfect. As you can see, I am very much a stickler with my ratings, and that is how I want to be. I don't want to give every match in early life Ring of Honor a 5 out of 5. No way. Your main event is a bit of a disappointment, if I do say so myself. It is Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe is the Ring of Honor champion at this time versus Doug Williams. Code of Honor shown, a handshake. Williams gets Joe down right away, which is a surprise. Hard-hitting but slow match. Samoa Joe is slowed down by the British technical style that Doug Williams brings to the plate. Williams is a good match for Joe, hitting back and putting in the offense. There's a really nice spot where Williams, who at the moment is hanging upside down from Joe's back, and gets Joe's arm into some kind of arm lock. And it's really sophisticated to see how, even though Williams is in a very dangerous spot, hanging upside down from a guy's back, he gets Joe's arm like that. It's impressive. The commentators make an hilarious slip up by the way they call the crossface. One of them, I forgot which one, a crossface on the face. A crossface on the face. If it doesn't happen on the face, where is it supposed to happen? Anyway, let's go back. The match ends abruptly, though, when there's a quick tap from Williams when Joe puts on the choke. I really expected a lot more from the two of these men. I don't know, maybe they're running out of time, maybe they were like, let's wrap it up, folks, But still, Samoa Joe wins, he keeps the title, and it's 2.5 out of 5. That was our main event, and now we close the show with basically all hell breaking loose. This is your makeup from the match ending softly and quickly, as I might add. After the match, Maff and Morgan of the Prophecy come out to attack Joe. Shane comes out to defend Joe and attack the members of the Prophecy. Group versus Prophecy. Daniels comes out, Revelations finisher to Shane, 3-on-1, last rites to Joe. Daniels takes the mic and says how this was their night for Retribution and the prophecy was fulfilled. The sprawl promo at the end was better than the match, to some extent, if I may be honest once again. Joe and Shane walk out defeated. There's more prophecy stuff backstage, and then we have a promo opposite the prophecy from Samoa Joe teasing that this feud is nowhere over yet. So we had a couple of good matches tonight. We had, obviously, CM Punk versus Homicide was the match of the night for all the good reasons, and then Carnage Crew versus Hernandez, Don Juan, and Fast Eddie was the best match of the night for all the wrong reasons. Okay, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening. That was my review for Retribution Round Robin Challenge the second. This event was on April 26th, 2003. And if you like what you hear, please leave a like or a comment below, because I have already typed up and will bring you 2 more in-depth Ring of Honor event reviews. These are your extended, definitive reviews from WestRoadSal. Ladies and gentlemen, good night and sleep tight.